Welcome to Sparky's garage. Today we are going to remove all the brake lines and all the wiring from the Jeep mud truck. First thing we're going to do is come to the back of the truck and get rid of all of this stuff. And I'm going to leave the pigtails for all the lights. I'm going to leave the pigtails for everything. This we're probably going to just get rid of, the trailer wiring, because I don't think we're planning on towing anything. I don't think this is hooked to anything. I don't think there's any wires coming out of the back of it. Oh, there is. We'll cut all that out of it. Cut all this out of it. I bought a 21 circuit hot rod wiring harness that's labeled and everything, because as you can see, at some point this thing was on fire. So right now it's only got this wire and this wire hooked up to the ignition to run the thing, because the previous owner just got it running. So, and then we're going to cut all the brake lines out of it. So we got this brake line junction, and so there's one brake line to the front, and then there's two up front, because it's got a single master cylinder. So for those of you that don't know what a single master cylinder is, in previous to the late 60s or late 50s, early 60s, everything had a single bore master cylinder, which is basically this. So there's one reservoir and then one brake line. So if you lose brake fluid, you lose the brakes. So the purpose of a dual master is as if the front loses fluid, you still have backs, and if the back loses fluid, you still have fronts. So it's just safety, and they work better. That's I think it's 900 thousandths bore, and the new master cylinder is going to have an inch and a 16th bore or something like that. So we'll be able to move about twice the fluid. And then this is just a big block. So, and then all this wiring, all of it, it's all going to go away. We're going to get rid of all these solenoids, all the headlight wiring, all of it, and just start from scratch. Alright, I'll bring you back when I got something done. Okay, so I cut all the fuel lines, brake lines, breather lines, wiring, anything that's not going to be reused because it was botched together. Here is that's every brake line, fuel line, everything. Battery cable, all of it. It's all just bare now. So, and I don't know, I think I'm going to cut that battery tray out of there and move it, because nothing's worse than being stuck in the mud and having to mess with a battery under their truck. It's horrible. So I think I'm going to get a boat battery box and stuff it in the corner of the bed. Put a cover over it. And that'll be that. And then the other thing I'm going to do is buy like a breather tank for like an engine, like a turbo motor or something. And run all the axle breathers, transfer case, transmission, all that stuff into one breather box, engine breather, all that stuff into one, and I just call it, puke tank. So, put a filter on it, keep all the water out of everything and dirt. The only other thing is, so this wire is left for the alternator. This is all headlight stuff. I just left pigtails. I'm gonna do something about this too. They literally have just I think what they did is they put a piece of tubing inside of this to make it hard, and then they put this line over it and just clamped over it. I mean, it works, but it's ugly as heck. So I think I'm gonna redo it. The next thing I gotta do is get all the brake line stuff that's left off, clean all the fittings. I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna try to get hardware for the exhaust because it's just hanging. Well, that one's sitting on something, but it's all just hanging, so I'm gonna tighten all that up. And I gotta weld holes in the firewall so we don't, you know, die of exhaust fumes. And I'm still waiting on springs. I still haven't gotten any springs. That's why the axles look strange. So, and then, you know, we got our tail lights. I know the lens is broke, but what are you gonna do? Put new lights in it? So, the other thing I want to do is I gotta find out what flare that is to come off of it, and I want all the fuel line stuff to be it was all rubber hose, and I want it to be like metal line so it doesn't get like abrasion and stuff like that. Other than that, I think that's everything. Besides, so I was gonna try to use the key that's in it's an Oldsmobile column. It's because somebody put power steering in it. I was gonna try to use the key switch and stuff, but none of it works. So I just got rid of it all. This is for the tack. I have no idea. It's a Sunbeam tack. 4-wire tack. Two are probably, I don't know, light. One's power and then one's tack signal. I'm going to see if this brake light switch works. And that'll be that. The other thing I got to do is take the master cylinder out, and when I get the new one, I'll place it and all that stuff. The other thing I found out today was, so that's a high beam switch, like every old car. That button over there, that looks like a high beam switch, is a starter switch. I guess that's how you start them. You turn one of these switches on over there in the left corner of the screen, and then you put your foot on that, and it would start. All these gauges down here work. None of those up there work except the speedometer. I'm just going to leave them there because they look neat. And then somebody put this in so you can charge your phone. I thought that was pretty neat. I think the only thing this thing's not going to end up with this go around is a radio, which is fine. Throw a Bluetooth speaker in here, and if you want to listen to music. And then I'm going to do something about the floor. I'm not going to fix it the right way, but I'm going to hammer it all back flat and probably weld some plate in there just to take it out. I mean, you know, broken body mount and all. That's alright. We don't care. Or I'll just weld a plate over it and put the bolt in it. I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. There's a lot of work to do here still. But yeah, see all these holes in the firewall? I'm going to get rid of those. They cut them so they could fit the motor in here. That one doesn't look like they needed to cut it. The other one looked like they needed to cut it, but... And then I want to like fill all these holes in and stuff. The under the dash of this thing's pretty barren. That's like just wiring for these hokey little gauges. The fuel cell in it has a gauge in it, so I think that'll probably work. Other thing that needs to be done today, this has no oil in it. The front does. I just haven't put oil in this one yet. And I gotta rebuild the 2 wheel cylinders on this side still. So, that's that.